Hello, and welcome to our webinar series. Today we have two very special guests. By the way, I'm Cynthia Milburn from Epilepsy South Central Ontario, and our special guests are from Nova Scotia, and they are very well known in the epilepsy community. And first is Cassidy Megan, who in 2008 was the founder of Purple Day at the tender age of 8. And she's going to elaborate on that and tell us all about her experiences and what motivated her to start this Purple Day movement. And then her mom manager, Angela, is also joining us, and you will hear her heartfelt story as a mom of a child with epilepsy and how their lives have unfolded and things have been really very successful for them giving back to the community. Here we have a picture. The first time I met Cassidy and Angela was in 2013 at the opening of the stock exchange on March 26th, and that was with the Caroline Foundation. And Hank Cunningham, who was the CEO of the Caroline Foundation, is now on our board of directors. So we're all connected again. So without further ado, please welcome Angela and Cassidy.
Hello. Hi, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for being here. And we look forward to hearing all about what you've been up to over the last 12 years.
It's hard to believe it's been 12 years already.
Honestly.
So as Cynthia said, I am Angela. I'm Cassidy's mom. And we live in Nova Scotia, her dad, her brother, Cassidy, and myself, and her 3 pets. So when Cassidy was diagnosed, when Cassidy was little, there was, she was very clumsy. She would fall down the stairs. She would daydream a lot. She would, just not, we thought not pay attention. She was under investigation for health things, numerous other health issues. And when she was about 7, it was a Halloween, and a couple things had happened. We had family members, she'd be playing. They go, Cass was just running and she fell down, and then she just laid on the ground and she wouldn't answer us. And, and things like that would happen. And we would be going, okay, Cass, you got to pay attention. You've got to answer people. You need to, not be rude. And so we were out for a Halloween. During that, she was seeing, a kidney specialist and stuff. And one day we were out, it was trick-or-treating, and Cass would be walking, she would just drop to the ground. And
I was pushing Megan's stroller too.
Yeah, the one time she was pushing a friend of our stroller, the baby wasn't in it, thankfully, and she just fell, stroller and all. And she would get really tired each time she fell. She became more tired and more tired. So she handed her treat bag to her brother and his friends, and she's like, you guys trick or treat for me. And she asked if we could take her home so she could go to bed. And we're like, no, you just, you can rest at your brother, because it was a bit of a drive to go home. And so we went in to see the doctors, and I told them what happened. And I was like, we need to figure what's going on with this. It's increased in the frequency, and all this stuff is not right. So he proceeded to say, it's in her head. And I was like, no, this is real. Like, I thought he meant she was imagining it. And he's like, no, this is something neurological going on. And he sent us upstairs to neurology. So we got up to neurology, and the doctor there, who was an amazing gentleman, he's now retired. It was Dr. Gordon, and we went up to see Dr. Gordon, and he asked all kinds of questions, and we're answering his questions. And because we've been through so many tests and doctors with Cassidy with her other health issues, I'm just kind of going, this is the answer, this is the answer, this is the answer. And then he says, I think she might have epilepsy. And I'm like, nope, she don't. Because all I knew about epilepsy was the tonic-clonics. That's all I had seen was the tonic-clonic seizures, and Cass didn't do that. So I kind of thought he was wrong. And so he said, okay, here's what I want you to do. And he told us a couple things to watch for at home and to observe. And one of them was that when Cassidy was daydreaming and ignoring us was to call her name out and to, if she didn't respond, just kind of like touch her face and, Cass, see if she responds. He goes, and then pinch her. I'm like, not pinch on my kid. And he said, no, just pinch her and see if she reacts. So, sure enough, this happens. We did that and she doesn't react to anything and she doesn't respond. And when she does, she kind of turns and looks at us, and the way we described it was like she was stoned, like she was just out of it. She was glossy. She couldn't articulate her words or speak. And she just kind of was like, what? And just totally not with it. So we kind of it took us back and we're like, okay. So we went back and seen Dr. Gordon and we told him what was going on. And he said she has epilepsy. And again, I'm confused because all I knew was tonic-clonics. And so he proceeded to tell us that he suspected she had complex partial epilepsy, and he explained it to us. And Cassidy said, nope, I don't want that. And Dr. Gordon was great. He turned around and he looked at her and he said, well, you may not want it, but you have it. So sit down, we're going to deal with this. And in the office, it was this range of emotions, and it still kind of makes me teary-eyed, a little more than teary-eyed. So there was this range of emotions that go through us, and it's like, it's denial. It's like, she doesn't have that, you're wrong, to like, holy crap, what does this mean? And what's next? And then just kind of, you're trying to absorb and take everything in as you're sitting in the office and you're being told that your child has epilepsy. And so we're trying to take it all in. I'm trying to absorb it all. And I'm a type of person who I ask questions, and I ask a lot of questions, and I want to be informed, and I want to know everything I can know about something. And I didn't know what to ask. I didn't know what to say because my mind's just going like a million different ways. So we come home and we kind of sit down, and I have to tell my husband what the doctor said. And that's how much I was convinced it was going to be a fine visit. I told my husband not to worry about coming. So I have to sit down and tell my husband and our family that Cass has epilepsy. And saying those words out loud for the first time to my husband and to our family, I think that's when it became real. And that's what it became like, oh man, this is real. And then it was guilt. The feelings of guilt of, the times that we had chastised her for being clumsy, the times that we had told her if she wasn't going to pay attention, that she was going to not be able to go to Sparks anymore, that she was going to lose this privilege or that privilege. It was the guilt of knowing that what was happening with Cassidy wasn't her fault, but we still were being, chastising her for things that weren't her fault. And I know now that we didn't know. So, it's the guilt is different, but at the moment and in the beginning, the guilt that comes with that diagnosis and the guilt for my husband and I, and her brother too, of, we were too harsh. We were too not understanding. We were not this. And then after the guilt came fear. What does this mean for Cassidy? Where do we go from here? Like, is she going to be affected in school? Is she going to be able to have a job? Is she going to be able to do this? What is this going to mean for her life? How are people going to treat her? What are they going to do? And what do we do? How do we fix this? How do we make it better? How do we make it go away? And then it was, I guess, denial again. And so we kind of go through this huge range of emotions. And I think that's why it still makes me emotional, is because I know there's other parents out there that are going through that. And even though here we are, she was diagnosed at 7, she's 21. So it's 14 years later. I don't have the guilt anymore. I still have a bit of anxiety or fear sometimes. It's like she'll do really good. And then when she has a seizure, it's like rips the rug out from under you. It's like, oh, crap, we deal with this. So it's almost like it's always there. It's always in the back of your mind. We don't let it control us. We don't let it rule our family or our house, but it's always there in the back of our mind. So that I'm better with I don't know if I want to use the word fear. I'm better with the unexpected, of living life, learning to breathe again, learning to, for the other shoe to fall. It's always in the back. We've learned to live with that. But, back to the beginning again, sorry, I'm all over the board. When Cass was diagnosed, and then I was sitting down telling my mom, and Cass come up the hallway, and she was so angry with me, and she was mad, and she's like, stop talking about it. I don't want people to know I have epilepsy. You're not allowed to tell anybody. And she was just really angry. And so then it was dealing with not only our fears and our anger, but helping her deal with her fear and her anger. And if we don't understand it as an adult, how does a 7-year-old understand it? So then it was educating. It was learning and educating, and how we can make it easier and make it better for Cassidy. And for the people who are in her life who love her and who are going to be part of her life. So, because as Cass always says, epilepsy, we're all living with that. So, we did tell her school, which was interesting. 99% of the school was supportive and good. We had 1 or 2 people at the school tell us that the doctor was wrong. But again, he didn't know. He only seen tonic-clonic seizures. And then we had a teacher who didn't really understand it. So the one time Cass had a seizure, and she came out of the seizure with the teacher shaking her and yelling at her, and Cass had no idea what was going on. So we realized that we need to educate the school. And so when Cass was in grade 1, when she was diagnosed, it was dealing with those fears, those anxieties, not being able to let her go places and go, okay, breathe, she's going to be okay, she's going to be okay, she's going to be okay. And then in grade 2, we realized that we had told some of Cassidy's friends that she had epilepsy, or their parents, because Cass was going to be with them and they needed to be aware. And all of a sudden we noticed that some people were no longer inviting Cass on sleepovers. They were no longer inviting Cass to go camping. She didn't know what was going on. So how do we explain to her that these people who were your friends no longer were having you around? And, she was at a gathering one time, and one of the parents called and said, can you come get her? Because we're not really comfortable. We're not sure if she's going to have a seizure or not. And we're not comfortable. So can you come get her? So we got and get her, and she's wanting to know why she has to leave. And we just said, well, no, we're going to go I think we went to Piggy's Cove, or we did something for a drive.
Like a family day.
Made a family day. But it kind of was frustrating as a parent to realize that this stigma with epilepsy and the discrimination that she was facing then, it was just regular emotion again, sorry, that she could face this growing up. And how do we stop that? And what do we do? So, sorry. So we kind of thought about it, and, as parents, the mama bears, papa bears, we want to protect our kids. We want to make, things good. We want to make things easy. We want them to have a good life. So seeing that discrimination and that stigma that was affecting her at grade 1, grade 2, it made us worried about what's going to happen to her as she got older and where that was going to help her in her life. So in grade 2, we invited the Epilepsy Association of the Maritimes to come to her classroom and give her a presentation about epilepsy. And back then it was called the Epilepsy Association of Nova Scotia, but we've changed our name now. But we invited them to come to the classroom to give a presentation about epilepsy. So they got the 2 grade 2 classrooms together, and no one knew again that it was about Cass. So they got the grade 2 classes together, and the woman she read a book, and she did a little show, and she told about epilepsy. And, as Iris, her name was Iris, and as Iris did this, we were aware the children were watching, and they were listening, and they were learning, and they were so positive and responsive. And Cass took her teacher and I aside, and she wanted to talk to us outside. So we go outside the classroom, and we're thinking, okay, this is going to be, you know, not good. Cass is going to be like, I want to stop. And she actually took a deep breath and she said, we can tell them it's me with epilepsy. And that was the first time that Cassidy spoke out and said, I have epilepsy. So, you know, her teacher and I cried, which we set Cass back in the classroom. We cried and we hugged and we were like, this is so huge. So Cass, you know, spoke out, and again, we noticed differences in people. There were some changes in her invites and stuff. And so we had to teach Cass that that was on them, not on her, and that she couldn't let that stop her and influence her. So we, in grade three,
yeah,
we were sitting on the couch, and we were watching a TV show, and a commercial came on for cancer.
it was like a cancer run marathon.
Yeah, and St. Patty's Day at the same time. And Cass turned and looked at me, and she said, why isn't there a day for epilepsy? And I said, well, honey, in Canada, it's kind of like the whole month of March is epilepsy awareness, and this is what, you know, we do, and different agencies around the world and around the country. And she's like, no, I just want one day that is ours, that we can stand up and just tell people that that they're not alone, and that they don't have to be afraid, and that they don't have to be and she wanted to teach people who don't have epilepsy that it was okay and not to be afraid of the people who do. So after seeing what she had went through in the last 2 years, seeing her growth step out and acknowledge that she had epilepsy, and seeing how some people were with the stigma and discrimination, I was like, baby girl, whatever you need to do to make yourself feel good, we're on it. So she said she wanted to have this day called Purple Day. And I said, well, sweetheart, you know, lavender's the official color of Purple Day, or sorry, lavender's the official color of epilepsy. And in her, you know, 8-year-old, 9-year-old mindset, she looked at me and she goes, that's just a shade of purple. And this way, anyone can wear any what purple they want. Again, I said, all right, baby girl, whatever you want. So we, she wanted to have her school do it, and her brother's school and her cousin's school. So she called her school and asked them if she could do something there. And she called my nieces and nephews and who were in university, asked them to help. She contacted family friends who were politicians and called all those guys, and they all were on board. So we called the Epilepsy Association of the Maritimes, told them what Cass wanted to do, and that the school was on board. So the day that worked best for the Epilepsy Association of the Maritimes and for Cassidy School for them to come in and do a presentation was on March 26th. And then Cass said, I want to do this every year, and I want it to be worldwide, and I want it to go everywhere. And I said, well, sweetheart, why don't we just work with our community? And she said, no, I want this to go around the world. I don't want anybody to ever feel how I feel. So that's my story, tears, emotion, and all. But my heart goes out to the parents who are newly diagnosed. And I think I would tell them, you're not alone. And everything you feel is normal and understandable. And reach out, talk, and you're going to be okay. And your child's going to be okay. And learn to breathe. Learn to breathe again. That's the big thing. She's
when you get emotional, then I like catch your feelings, and I'm like, well, now I'm emotional.
But that's how it goes, and that's how it started. And then Purple Day came up, and you can tell what you did with Purple Day.
Yeah, so Mom told you kind of how I got it up off the ground. We kind of started with just a few 3 or 4 schools, and we worked with some friends of ours who did web design, and we created the Purple Day website. We worked with the association, the Epilepsy Association of the Maritimes. They helped get some businesses and other schools involved, in touch with us.
And then, well, that was in 2008.
2008, yeah.
And
And
then
then
2009,
2009, the Indian Coffin Foundation
in the USA
in
joined
the
on.
USA got word of it. It was like, okay. And then they joined on. Was it 2009 or 10 we went to New York?
2009, we went to New York.
So they flew us up to New York for a grand opening of Dylan's Candy Bar. At the same time, it was the big launch of Purple Day in the States. So since then, all of us working together, we've managed to get it across Canada, across states, and then using social media platforms and rallying up supporters, like our ambassadors. We took it across the world pretty much. 2012, was it 2009 or 8 we contacted all of Parliament?
In 2008, she contacted all of Parliament, and she actually called the Prime Minister's office. So what you guys are seeing right now is our Purple Day website, which is amazing, but we are actually getting ready to, Cass is working very hard on a new Purple Day website. It's going to be
just kind of updating it, getting more updated stats, facts, making it bigger, better, easier to navigate.
Lots of information. You guys are going to love it when it's finished.
I'm excited.
In 2008, when she started Purple Day, she somehow managed to get through to the executive assistant with the Prime Minister at the time. And
so I called them and they're like, hello, this is so-and-so. What can I help you with? And I'm like, or whatever they say. And I'm like, can I speak to the Prime Minister, please? And she's like, no. And I'm like, I take the phone from me. I'm like, Mom, they told me no and I use my manners. What is this? And she's like, it's okay. Just keep talking. Let them know why you're calling. So she said she'd give him the message. Then I think he ended up wearing like a tie or
all
handkerchief.
of Parliament wore purple ties and stuff that year.
Yeah.
This here, what you're seeing right now is
this is a photo of when we went to, I think this is our first year going to Disney, maybe?
It was 2019.
19?
So
last year. So our Nina Coffin Foundation Global Partners teamed up with Epilepsy Central Florida, who teamed up with Disney, and they lit Spaceship Earth Center, Epcot up purple. And we did a big gathering function in the morning, and midday we'd go to Epcot, Cassidy downtown and kind of explore, see what everything is, find the location we were supposed to all meet at, and then watch Epcot be lit up. So this is on the way there. Disney actually, the ears I am wearing, they created those specifically for, no?
I don't think they're created specifically for that, but everyone bought them that year.
Everyone bought them that year for the event, and almost everyone there was wearing them. That's probably why I think it thought it was for that.
And then
this is from every year in Halifax we have the Purple Day Gala,
which is the signature fundraiser for our Canadian Global Purple Day partner, the Epilepsy Association of the Maritimes. So I'll let Cass tell the story of the dress and the girl.
So the Weston's really great. This last 2 to 3 years we've had the whole upper floor. So I'm standing with, she's a good friend of mine. Her name is Fiani. She's actually a Purple Day ambassador
from Nigeria,
and she works really closely helping raise awareness in Nigeria and everywhere's working with Angie's Foundation.
Angie's Foundation, which is a Purple Day partner and ambassador as well.
And the dress, a local designer helped make it with me, and support it and kind of show the Roaring 20s theme, but sticking with purple.
His company's called Drunk Girl. Amazing designer.
And
then,
so this Jeff Regan and his wife,
Jeff and
Kelly, they've been supporters since day one of Purple Day. They heard my idea. He actually probably big help with getting all Parliament numbers and emails. 2012, he initiated the Purple Day Act, and it passed through Parliament and making Purple Day an official law day in Canada.
And we're the only country to actually have March 26th officially declared Purple Day and declared a law in our country, which is awesome. A lot of countries do proclamations and stuff, which is great. But yeah, since Purple Day started, it's, you know,
We've had a lot of milestones.
We're now in over 100 countries on every continent, including Antarctica, and thousands of ambassadors
Worldwide.
And, you know, people will say that Cass is inspirational, and you always say,
honestly, even some of my friends, that's like, how do you keep like the energy to continue on day after day? And I'm like, hearing everybody else's stories, that's where I gathered my inspiration from. Like, oh, this is still happening, well, let's make it not happen anymore. You're still getting discrimination, well, let's try to put an end to that. Because honestly, epilepsy is the second most common neurological disorder next to migraines. So it's a lot more common than people think, so why isn't it as normal to talk about? This photo is
the very first Purple
Day.
Very
first Purple Day.
So little.
Gosh, I think it was like the end of the day, like nearing supper time, I think. I'm like, when I took the photo, that's why it's kind of light out still. I think we posted it more near like the evening. Just like thanking everyone for all their support, and you know, it really helped me continue on through the day. Yeah,
you know, and one of the things the Cass is striving to get people to understand is that epilepsy does affect not just her, it affects the family, her brother, her friends.
Well, even from your story, like how the diagnosis affected you as a parent.
Yeah.
And I don't know 100% how Dad dealt with it.
It was
a
hard.
few words.
But even her brother has said, you know, there's times when, you know, he worries, like at nighttime, like, because in 2015, Cass was diagnosed with complex partial. In 2015, she had... I
was diagnosed at age 7 with complex partial seizures. Predisposed to grand mal tonic-clonics. My EEGs always showed generalized activity, spiked activity, but my my seizures always came out as complex partial, so we weren't really sure how. We just never really thought much on the generalized ones happening to me. So 2015, I had woke up and I had like brown in the corner of my mouth. I had lost bladder control, and Mom seemed really like, we thought kidneys, we thought all my other health issues, but in the back of their minds, we knew it was a generalized seizure. And so I had bit my tongue. That's where the dried up brown stuff came with the blood.
Lost your body functions.
Lost the bladder. So we're like, okay, let's deal with this now. And like, so my health changed, and then that's I started going downhill between that and other health diagnoses happening, and a lot of stress in just everyday life. Started playing on the mental health. You get emotional here. I'm like, okay, so where was it? Okay, so and then so my brother, like not 2 or 3 Christmases ago, I had a really bad seizure. I missed my morning and evening medications, both dosages. So I was in and out of tonic-clonic seizures that night for about an hour. So it was really hard, him seeing that. And we actually recently talked about that and talked through it. So that's why it's always good to have a good support system. And like, epilepsy can play on your mental health. So if you're feeling like discouraged or dark, like depression almost, don't be afraid to talk about it, because you're not the only one experiencing that either. Everyone has at some point in their life, or they might, but even if you just bring up the topic first and say like, oh, and try to get them to say something about it, and then you'd be like, okay, and if that makes you feel more comfortable, and if you don't talk to like a psychologist at first, if it's just a friend, that's fine. Yeah, that's kind of like the story of us and Purple Day, how that got started,
and where we are. So
and where we are now.
Do you guys have any questions for us, or we kind of rambled there for a bit?
You're still muted, Cynthia. Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, I was all caught up, so sorry about that. My mute. Wow, I was saying, thank you for sharing that heartfelt story, and I know it's helpful for others to hear it because everyone thinks it's just them, and it is a family disorder. The whole family's involved, and and Angela, mothers go where angels fear to tread for their children. So I know you've been there and back, and as well as many of us. And you know, educating in the school is so important, like you said, and all of these things have evolved since 2008, since you started this global phenomenon, and you've got the global conversation going, and it's just going up from here. It's just amazing. And Angela, you mentioned, you know, it's, and people can relate to this. You've got the denial, you've got the guilt,
Yeah.
you've got the fear, and then you go back to denial again because it's just easier to deny it, you know. And then it's just, you're facing this head on, and if you speak about it, you will find others will think, whoa, like everyone's affiliated with somebody with epilepsy. It's that prevalent. And so I think you've done the world a favor, and it's been your drive. And I know when you get these diagnoses, you want to channel that energy instead of pining, and you really do. And as parents, we go out and get as much information as we can, and then as rare little 8-year-olds go out and decide that they're going to call the prime minister, and shocking that he wouldn't take your call. I'm yeah, I would be taken aback if I was 8 years old calling too.
Well, we're always taught, like, you know, you use your manners, and most of the time things work out. So that's kind of like, that's why it's most of the time, not all the time, I guess.
Yeah, and someone's asking, are there ever times when you feel like you regretted telling others, or were there times about your epilepsy, about your seizures?
Not that I recall. You
No.
remember any time I mentioned?
No, I don't think. I think for me, because I seen the positive it had with Cass and the strength it gave you to talk about it and not hide it. But that's also the kind of family we are, face things on.
Because I did hide it for like a year and a half, and like taking medications, I would go to a different room, like, oh, I'm just going to the bathroom. Haha, just gotta use it.
And then have you ever regretted it though?
No, once I told, it also kind of shows you, like, I don't want to, it's maybe a little weird to say, not right to say, but like, kind of shows you who's true to you.
Oh, yes.
So like, after, like, sure, like, even like my best friend to this day, they may have been like kind of hesitant to it, but once they learn more, they're like, oh, we got this. We can deal with this. Some people, I mean, I guess they still didn't really come around. But you know, it's easier for them, I guess. You still try to educate them as much as we can, but
yes, and in the schools it is important. We our agency does a grade 5 curriculum, because in grade 5 you learn about the human body, so the teachers have a little bit of latitude with the curriculum. So, and we get asked back year over year to talk to the grade 5s, and that's a great age because they're 10, and it's a good, and like you said, when you went to your classroom, like the children really listened and they were interested, and that's a sympathetic age too. It's a nice age. So you know, you did everything right. And as you said, your struggles over the years getting a diagnosis, and the average is 7 years to diagnose epilepsy. So it takes a long time. Like some, you know, even doctors kind of question, unless, like you say, Angela, unless it's a full-on tonic-clonic convulsive seizure, you know, the definitive diagnosis is difficult for epilepsy.
Sorry, I just feel like it might also be like, they almost just don't want, they want to like try like every other solution before they say, okay, it is epilepsy. I kind of get that vibe sometimes.
Well, they're probably ruling out other things, right? And as you said, there's a stigma and the social, you know, it is, but you really do find out who your true friends are, and even young people, you know, it's fear, and ignorance, and that's what you've done. You've taken every obstacle and turned it into this phenomenon called Purple Day, which is incredible. And by the way, we're getting hundreds of comments saying thank you to Cassidy and Angela for sharing your stories. And as well, someone asked if you've tried to be on Ellen.
No, years ago the video was sent to her, but no.
We sent a video. We had like my dog in the video too. We like gave him like a purple like.
Oh.
He's like kind of like a spray can of hair dye. We like sprayed a purple mohawk on him. We're like, this is my dog. He's really helpful with it.
Fan. Oh. And people are actually saying how much they love that dress you had on for the Purple Day Gala. And the biggest myth, what's the biggest myth you've heard? I think, Angela, maybe you shared that earlier, but what's the biggest myth you've heard concerning epilepsy?
Probably that you're possessed, and come to our church so we can rid you of your demons. Probably the biggest myth. I think that tops like
that we've kind of heard a lot of them, that you won't get a good job, you can't have family, you can't do school. But I think the ones that have shocked us the most is in today's day and age, right here in our own country, even, believe stronger, God will take it away, or that you're possessed. And we kind of go, wow, okay. But, that's when you chance to educate again. Those myths are there because people aren't educated, and that's where you have to step up and educate them.
Wow. And it's really nice to have you on and talking. I think everyone knows I didn't know your whole story, but most people know who you are and what you've done for the whole epilepsy awareness movement, and that we actually had a law passed, and all of that stemmed from little Halifax, Nova Scotia, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Do you have anything else you wanted to share with us? Do you have anything else you want to share?
There's a few different
t-shirts.
Yeah, if you don't own any purple, you don't know where to get purple, do the Association of the Maritimes or your local association even probably has some Purple Day t-shirts. You have like unisex ones where it's like a scoop neck, or you can get like female. You
get V-neck ones for those who want V-necks.
Yeah. Also, if you're looking for places that offer support, agencies, and so like agencies like you guys, like the Gamecock Foundation, like the Association of the Maritimes, we all offer support. I do a live feed every Sunday night at 10:30 our time here, I think. And that I answer all the good comments as much as I can. Sometimes we get off track. There's podcasts.
There's resources out there.
There's resources out there for help. And I don't know. Yeah, like it's okay to be nervous about it, but don't let it stop you from doing what you want to do.
That's great. That's great. I've watched your pod. Your sorry, why am I saying it wrong? Your what do you call them?
Podcast or lives?
Thank you. I had a moment there. And I've watched it, and it's so candid and it's so real. And you answer every single person's comments, and it's just lovely. And I think people, especially now in COVID, like all these people around the world, they're really looking for some connection. And that podcast that you do it's just like, it's fun to watch, and to see that you're both on different mediums, and you're looking at Instagram and Facebook, and you're getting everybody's comments and answered. And I think people feel part of that conversation. They feel supported just to be able to have you on, and you're both so casual, which is really nice. Long time ago was your diagnosis, but what advice would you give to someone being told they have epilepsy?
Well, you can't get rid of it by just saying you don't want it. But don't let it stop you from doing what you want to do. So I was diagnosed, and then I wanted to go into cheerleading. So I talked to my doctor about it. He goes, well, we'll see about being like people who get thrown in the air. Maybe not that until you figure out your medications and seizures. But as long as you're careful, go for it. So, like, don't let it stop you from doing what you want to do. Find adaptations. You can still go swimming, wear a life jacket, have a friend with you. If you go for walks, bike rides, anything. Worst case scenario, bring a friend, bring your parent. I don't know. If you're close with them. But yeah, just don't let it stop you from doing what you plan to do, what you want to do. If you want to go into medical and universities, go for it. Don't let the public or what people believe or say stop you from achieving your dreams and your goals.
That's beautiful. And Angela, you allowed Cassie to have a normal childhood, to be a kid, to do things, and you just have this extra watchful eye. We have summer camp that allows children to do all those things that they fear might stop them from doing, or schools don't let them go on trips. And so, the summer is really special for kids here, and they get to go horseback riding and on ropes and on swimming and all these things that other kids take for granted. So kudos to you.
Thank you. I think it's awesome you guys do that. And as a parent, when Cassie had her first tonic-clonic, we knew about the one she dropped in 2015, she went away to an epilepsy camp 2 weeks later. So you parents who are hesitant about letting your child go to these camps, do it. Let them go. It's so important for you as a parent and a caregiver, and so important for them. She came back stronger. She was with people. She said, they get me. I was with my people that get me. I didn't have to explain it. So please, if you're thinking about sending your child to an epilepsy camp with these guys,
whether it's Sunny Days Camp or whether it's Brigadoon,
send them.
Yeah,
it's good for you. It's good for your child. It's so good for your growth.
When you pick them up, they'll most likely be crying, but it's good tears. Even I try talking to Ambassador Abigail, and I'm like, look, girl, I'm crying because it was amazing.
So let your kids go.
Yeah, I agree. As a parent, a little bit of tough love, and for yourself too, because at our camp, we don't allow parent volunteers. So it's all very highly trained post-secondary students, youth, and the kids have a phenomenal time. And this way, they really do improve their self-esteem and their self-confidence. And even we've had testimonials that when they go back to school, that they've had this new found confidence and with regards to their abilities. So pretty amazing. I
think it's an amazing gift for the parents to give the child, to have that freedom and to let them know that that's the child know that I can do this.
Yeah, we have one of our friends of our agency, Heather, has been happy to share Zoom games with you lately, Cassidy. So if you wanted to share that with you. We don't have any more questions per se. I mean, purpleday.org. I know we'll promote that for you. Just incredible, as I said, global conversation that this young woman started, which is amazing. And so yeah, across Canada and the world, we've all benefited, and people with epilepsy ultimately. So thank you for all that you've given.
Thank you.
Epilepsy. And we just have a couple more webinars coming up that I'll plug. On June 24th, Volunteering 2.0 at 7 p.m. will be featured and Facebook Live, and that's with our own David Tortalis. And then on July 14th, Women in Epilepsy. So that's with Tejal Patel, a pharmacist at the University of Waterloo, and she has a special interest in women in epilepsy, and she will be providing some valuable information. So thank you so much for joining us today, everyone, and we'll see you again.
Thank you too, and just one last thing, I guess. Thank you so much for the support everyone has given over the years and continues to give. Purple Day really has grown because of all your guys' continued support and your shares and your sharing your stories. It definitely, I think hearing your guys' stories helps people talk. More people come out and talk about it. So
Yes, thank you for all your support.
thank you guys for
Aw.
doing this Zoom too. Like,
We're
it's
thrilled.
definitely helping people.
Thank you.